Welcome to another video in our series to help you with your scoliosis and sharing with you the things that I feel help me the most and were most beneficial to me in correcting mine. So this one is about your core, and it's about particularly the sides of your core, the abdominal muscles there, which are called the obliques. And in our yoga practice, we are not really concerned with any of the external core muscles, like what people would think be working to get like a six-pack. Because in actual fact, when you just work those muscles, you end up really like closed in, which for us, it definitely is just not the right place to be. We're concentrating on the deep internal core muscles, and when you think about it, from your rib cage to the top of your pelvis, the only part of that area there of your torso that has got any sort of support structure in terms of bones is your spine. There's nothing else there except your spine, which is why making sure that the muscles in this area are strong and support you is really, really important for everyone. But for us, there's a big imbalance here usually. So I know, like for me, my scoliosis means that my spine goes that way, the bottom. So that this left side is the concave side of the curve, and that is the weaker side for me in terms of strength. So I always focus more on this side. So for the last couple of poses in the video, I'm just going to do this left side, but you need to do the one that is the weakest for you. But before we get to those poses, we're just going to do a little bit of a warm-up for the core. So you're going to start on your belly, because your core is like a corset all the way around. It's not just at the sides or at the front. So you're going to take your head down, and you're going to take your arms down by your sides. Feet are about hip width apart, and you're going to really push your feet into the floor and engage your legs. And then you're going to really start to push your hips down into the floor, and maybe even squeeze your glutes here at the back. And then from here, you can keep your hands on the floor, but as you inhale, you're going to lift your head and shoulders. I like to reach my arms back because it helps me to do this. And you're going to keep looking at the floor, and you can do little, like a pulse almost, but it's like, I think of it as a reach. So each time I come up, it's like I'm reaching for my heels, and I'm trying to keep my feet on the floor. Your feet are going to want to lift up and this is where the strength in your legs helps. Three, two, and one. Just make a pillow for your head with your hands. You're going to bend your knees and just gently drop your feet from side to side. So release your lower back. And then from here, you're going to press yourself up. Walk your hands forwards, knees forwards, and you're going to come onto your back. So you're going to lie down on your back, and we're going to do some work for the lower part of your front abdominals, then the upper part, and then we're going to do a little bit of work just to warm up the obliques, and then we'll move to our last two poses. So from here, you're going to take your legs straight up, and if you tighten your hamstrings, bend your knees and have your shins parallel and squeeze your legs together. And you're going to push your heels up towards the ceiling if you've got your legs straight. Stack your heels over your hips and have your arms down by your sides. Keep your shoulders nice and relaxed and connected with the floor, and take a big breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to pull the lower part of your ribs down and your pelvic points up, and press your navel down towards the floor. So your lower back is in contact with the floor, and you need to keep your lower back in contact with the floor. And then big breath in again, and as you exhale, little lifts. So as you exhale, it's like you're pushing your heels up towards the ceiling. And it's not a big movement. We're not looking for a big movement here. It's maybe just enough that you could slide like a sliver of paper underneath your hips. You're trying to keep your shoulders out of it. And also, you're trying not to let, I'll show you what it looks like, your shins come back. So that it's just my legs doing the lifting then. The momentum of my legs. I'm trying to focus on these very lowest abdominals here, just above the pubic bone, and that is where I'm engaging to do the lift. Okay. So I'd say maybe do 10 and then stay in like sets of 10 and work your way up to 50 if you can. And then for the upper and the sides, you're going to take a big breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to lift your arms up and reach up. So you can do it with your knees bent, but you're going to need to take your hands behind your head and twist a little bit more. Yeah, you'll be more conscious of the twist. But with this other one, you're going to reach your arms up, and each time you exhale, you're going to take your right hand towards your left little toe, and then your left hand towards your right little toe. Okay, so you'll be inhaling your lower down a little bit. Exhale, reach. Exhale. 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 And you're taking your gaze a little bit up, and you're imagining that you're lifting with your chest rather than your neck. A lot of people, I know when I used to, before I did yoga, and I used to go to the gym a lot, and I used to try and do core work, and all that happened was that my core didn't get any stronger, but my neck was massive, which is not a great look, and also completely ineffective for, you know, helping me with my core strength and my lower back and shoulder pain. So again, keep going. Maybe right and then left counts as one. So maybe start off with a set of 10 and then just adding on in sets of 10. So that's your kind of little bit of a warm up for the core. You can add other things in. You can do more twisting. But it's important to keep your knees stacked over your hips. If you bring your knees in, you just stop your core from working. If you have your knees too far away, then that just makes your lower back arch off the floor. So you want to be able to keep your lower back pressed into the floor and be able to feel as though you are actually working your core already. And then the exhale is your twist and your lift. Okay, so you can do a few of those as well. And then you're going to rock yourself up or roll onto your side. And these are the next two that we're going to do. So I'm going to work my left side, like I said at the beginning, because that is my weaker side. So from here, and it's weaker because my spine is over here, these muscles have less support, and they have had to develop more strength naturally. So they'll be stronger, but then they'll also be tighter. This is my tight side. And then these will be weaker, but they'll probably be longer. It's not an exact science, everybody's different, it depends. It's not just the curve of your spine, but it's the habitual patterns of movement that you've developed to cope with your spine being out of shape over the years. So everything is going to have an impact as well. So you can have your top foot in front of you when you first start doing these. I'll show you both ways. So your bottom foot, you're going to kick the outside edge of your foot in. You're trying to line your whole body up in a straight line. And I'm not collapsing into this shoulder. I'm pushing the floor away with this elbow. And I'm pushing the floor away with my feet. And then I'm just going to have my hand on my hip. And I'm going to lift my hips up. So I'm going to adjust this bottom foot. And then I'm going to lower and lift and lower and lift. Okay, so this is the first level. You can adjust the position of your foot, and you will definitely be able to feel it in this left side of your torso and your waist. And then once you get used to that, you can have a go with both feet stacked, okay? And from here, you're going to lift up, okay? Hand on your hip, and then you'll dip and lift, dip and lift. And I'm not going to lie to you, these are very intense, but they're also extremely effective. So you're just going to start off with maybe 5, and then increase it up to 10. And when you've done one side, what I would encourage you to do is just roll onto your knees and then sit back and just stretch out this left side of your waist, or whichever side you've done. And then when you go to the other side, stretch out the right side afterwards. So I'm not saying don't do both sides, but you need to do more on the side that your spine's concave on. So that's the first one. And then the second one, you're going to come back onto your side, elbow here. And this will only work, this one, once you get to be able to have your legs straight. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift yourself up, you're going to stack your right foot or your top leg in front of your left, and then this hand is going to be behind the back of your head. So this will be your inhale, you're going to roll this right elbow back, and then as you exhale you're going to swivel on the balls of your feet and bring your elbow towards one another. Okay, so again, this one is pretty intense, and you're going to do a lot of work with the other exercises before you progress to this kind of exercise. Okay, so if you've got any kind of sensitivity in your elbow, you can do this on your hand, and this is called side plank. So you'd have this foot in front, and you could dip your hips and lift from there. So we're all made differently, and for some people who've got wrist sensitivity, the forearm one suits them a lot better, and for people with elbows or forearm sensitivity, then the one on your hand is going to suit you better. But the key actions are the same for every one of those. Okay, and then again, make sure you do some stretching at the end. I like this one because your heart rate's going to go up quite a bit when you do this kind of practice. So I like to do what we call banana pose, which is where you lie down on your back and then you walk your feet across. And this is, I've shown this in one of the other videos for this series because it is such an effective stretch for the side of your body, keeping your hips down, and you just stretch everything out. And this is great as well because once you've done each side and stretched out, then you can just come straight into a resting position and let your heart rate come back down. Stay here for as long as you've got, at least 3 or 4 minutes. Just let your body adjust and integrate the work that you've done. And then when you're ready to come out, just give your fingers and toes a little bit of a wriggle. And you can do this at the end of every one of these videos. And then draw your knees in, roll over onto your side and press yourself up. And get ready to go back into your day or to do one of the other videos if you kind of mix and matching them and adding them together. So once again, thank you very, very much for watching and for allowing me to be your guide in these videos. And I shall see you on another video.